Hello and welcome to the second part of my Beginner's Guide to Todoist. And in this episode, we're looking at everything related to projects. Now, projects you'll find, or the projects section you'll find in the sidebar, and that is what we're going to look at today. Everything that you can do with a Todoist project. Now, before we go any further, I'd just like to say if you do get any value from this video, then please help me by clicking on that like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, and you want to get all the latest tips, tricks and news on using Todoist, then please subscribe to my channel. Okay, let's go into my Todoist demo account now, and let's continue where we left off last time. Okay, so in the last episode, we looked at the whole interface of Todoist. Today, I want to look at the project. So what can we do with projects? And there's a number of things. Now, first of all, where are we going to find our projects? We find our projects in the left-hand sidebar. So what we can do, if you come across your sidebar and it looks like this, just says projects, you can use the little down arrow key that will open up the projects for you. So I've got here personal projects, work projects and routines. Now these were the ones that I showed you last week, how to set them up. Now let's just say that we want now to add a personal project in our personal projects, but we want to add something like trips. So holidays is what I'm going to call it. So holidays. And now what I usually do if I'm creating a sub-project, this is what this is, I usually keep that in lowercase. The main projects are in uppercase. What I can do is then change the color. So let's just give this a nice light blue, and we're going to leave this as a view, a list, sorry. So once I add that, now it comes in at the bottom. But what I want to do is I want to create this project as a sub-project. So I'm going to move this up underneath to personal. And if I drag it to the right slightly, it drops in. Now, what you'll notice is that we now have like this down arrow. So I can shut that and I can open that. So you can use sub-projects. So that's one type of project. Now, what you found is these are set up as a list. So if I add a task in here, which is buy Louis some more dog food, just as we did in the last episode, it's done as a list. So we have a list of tasks right here. I can also add, let's just say we'll add another task in here, which is buy some more broccoli. I'm doing my shopping list in here, which is really rather silly, but ask RK. RK is, by the way, the initials I use for my wife. Ask RK to order some more tea. So it's almost like a shopping list. It's not really meant to be a shopping list, but that's what we've done. Okay, so we've got a list of tasks right here. Now, there is another thing that we can do, and I'm just going to go into create a new project. So we create here. I'm going to call this Project X. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this as a board. So here's the list, which is basically the default, but we're going to create this one as a board. So I'm going to tap on that. So that's going to create a board. Now you'll see that we have something a little bit different here. Now we have named this section. Now I'm going to do an episode specifically on sections. So this isn't necessarily going to be all that relevant. But what I want to do, because we'll do that in that episode, what I want to do is now you can move tasks around. So I'm going to move this to Project X. Now you know that I set that up as a board, but rather than looking like that, now it comes in here, no section. I have a task right here, and I can do the same with this one. So let's just move this one in there. And what it's going to do is it's going to create like a board. Now I need to create sections for this. So we can do, let's say shopping inside this board, which adds that section. As I say, we're going to do more on sections later, but I can say, all right, these are shopping. So I can move these now in the board to shopping. And once I've done that, you'll notice that the named section has disappeared. That's because we now have everything in sections. But that's another style of project that you can create. So essentially what we can do is we can create a project really quite simply by clicking on the plus there. We have a lot of options. We can choose the color of the project. We can also add the project to favorites. Now what's going to happen when I tap that, you'll see, oops, I haven't actually created a project. Let's cancel that. So if I created a project which I added to favorites, so we'll just call this one test, and I'm going to add this to favorites. What will happen is you will see that a new section has arrived right here called test, and that is in favorites. But I don't really want that one in favorites, so I can remove that from my favorites just by clicking there. But let's say that I want my personal project in favorites. All I have to do is tap on the three buttons here, and I can go down somewhere down here, and it says add to favorites. And now it's in here. Now, what I want to do is just go through the menu here. We can move projects around up and down by using these buttons here. I can edit the project. I can give it another name, so we can go back in. I can change it to a board. I can do all sorts of things from that sidebar. We can also share a project. So if you know a person, like you may want to share your personal project with your partner, then that's another way you can do it. I can remove it from favorites. I can duplicate it. I can email tasks to this project. And what that means is I can get a personalized email address specifically for this project. Now, that's something you may or may not want to do. Personally, I prefer everything to come into my inbox so that I can process from there. We go back to this menu here. We can get the project calendar feed. So again, I got to copy this to clipboard, and then I can subscribe with Google Calendar or Apple Calendar or Outlook. So there's a lot of options I can do. I can bring this project, specific project, into my calendar. And we got down here, archive the project or delete the project. So those are the options that you have within your project window. Now, one more thing is, let's say we're in this project right here, and I'm thinking, I don't really like the list view. Can you change the list view? The answer is yes, you can. You can go into the view right up here, and I can now view this as a board. So changes it to a board. I can also do a lot. I'm going to go through this in a separate episode because this is actually quite involved. But right now you can you can move your tasks around using here, but that's more related to the tasks. But let's just go up here. I can add comments to the project. So I can call this project whatever I want to call it. I can just add comments. So this project must be completed by the end of October. So we can do it like this and add that project. Now, the thing you need to bear in mind is the only indication that I've got a comment in this project, not the task, is the number here. If I had another one, it'll be number 2. I can share the project from here. I can view the project. And once again, we have all those options that we just saw right down there. So there we go. There's just a few options that you have within the project. Now, we are going to cover sections in another episode, but if you remember when we viewed this as a board, there was this little indication right here called add section. Well, if you're in the list view, you can also add a section. All you have to do is if you move your mouse down slowly, and then you'll see add section, I can now create a section right here. So if I just put test in there, I add that section, I can move my task around just like almost the same way that we did with the board between the various sections. And you can add more sections if you wish. So that's just to give you an indication of setting up projects. Remember, to create a new project, you just have to click on plus, you can add the project, and then you can start adding tasks direct to it. Hopefully you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and it just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Hello, thank you very much for watching my videos. Now I have something exciting to tell you about. Recently I have developed a brand new time management system. It's a system designed to manage your time in the 21st century. The world has changed a lot over the last 20 years. In fact, it's actually changed a lot this year. And what we need now is a system, a time management system that is very easy to use, easy to maintain, so that you can spend more of your time doing the work. And that's what the time sector system is all about. It's going to change your whole belief system about the way a time management system should work, because this focuses on when you are going to do the task. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter how motivated, inspired, or how urgent something is. If you don't have time to do it, it is never going to get done. And that's what this system is built around, getting your work done, so you can spend more of your time doing the things that you want to do. I hope you join me in this course. The full details of the course are in the show notes below, so please join me, and thank you very much for watching this brief video.